Today we're going to do a demonstration on the 1/16 closer by Design Hardware. We're going to mount it, start out with, going to mount regular arm. The closer itself will mount three different styles. It'll mount regular arm, which will be where the closer body itself is mounted on the pull side of the door, and the arm is mounted up on the trim side. The other styles would be a parallel arm style, and they're all mounted on the push side of the door. The parallel arm style closer will be mounted here, the arm mounted up onto the top stop, and then if you would go top jam mount, naturally it's mounted on the top jam on the push side. To keep it simple today, we're just going to do the regular arm mount. We're going to do everything from the pull side of the door. Start out with, you just get your instructions. You want to make yourself familiar with them. You basically want to read the whole page. It's one page. Tells you everything you're going to need to know in a nutshell. And then we want to decide what we're going to do. This closer, we can mount it. It will open 100 degrees, or it will open 120 degrees, or you can swing it 180 degrees all the way against the wall, depending on your application. For today's purposes, we're going to set it at between 100 and 120 degrees. Pick the numbers out on our chart. Pretty simple. We need to be 6 inches over. A lot of these holes are already set up. Been using this door for a lot of demonstrations. So we need to measure from the hinge side to the first hole on the closer body will be 6 inches. That'll get us between 100 and 120 degrees. So we lay that out, we measure that. Lay this hole out at 6 inches, right there, mark it. And then that hole would be marked 1.25 inches down from the top edge of the door. So we just would mark 1.25 inches down. There it is. Now I normally circle all my holes when I mark them, so that way you know that you've done that hole and it's in the right spot, because you're going to get a lot of little lines and marks up there. And everything lays off of that first hole. So now your next hole over here will be 9 1/16 from that hole. So you just lay out center to center, mark it 9 1/16. There you go. Now it too will be 1.25 inches down from the top of the door. Mark that, put a mark on there, and then, like I say, I would circle it. And the other two are 3/4 inch, center to center down from the first holes. So you just come here, you mark your 3/4 inch. There you go. You would circle that one. You would come over here, same thing. You want to be center to center and mark it. And your top hole, it also lays off of this original hole. From that original hole, it is 6 inches over from the center of that hole to the center of this hole. Pretty easy just to lay it up, mark it, and then it is 1 inch up from the bottom of the door jamb, not the top of the door. On this one, you're on the jamb itself, so you mark your 1 inch up, mark it, circle it, and then your holes are, gotta look, 1 3/4 inches apart. There you go. Mark your 1 3/4 inches, set it, circle it. Now you've got all your holes on there. Now what I would do if the holes weren't pre-drilled in the door like they are here, normally I like to punch every hole just to dimple it. You just take your punch, set them all, and you put a small dent in the center of every hole. It'll help the self-drilling screws run in better. So you tap them all, get them all punched. And then I always drill the first hole that I'm going to put in there, even though we use a self-drilling, self-tapping screw that comes with the closers. It's always best to just drill that first hole. Makes it easier as you're putting stuff up. You'll see down the line how it helps. So I just take a 3/16 inch drill bit, drill the first hole. There you go. That was simple. Now you want to get everything out of the closer box so you can get it all in front of you. This closer is designed to be mounted, like we said earlier, 3 different ways. So you've got lots of parts and pieces in here that you're not going to use in every application. We have this, which is parallel arm bracket. We'll use it in another application. You have the cover, the trim cover. We have a through bolt package that comes with it. In some cases on a wooden door, you may want to use those, but for today we're just going to use all the self-drilling screws because we're working on metal doors. Get everything out, make sure it's all there. The self-drilling screw is the one that has a tip on it that looks like the drill bit. It will drill its own hole. You also have screws in there that are wood screws for putting it on a wood door. We're going to take the closer body. If you look at it, it's got valves on it for setting the latch and the sweep speed. It's also on the other end, it's got a back check valve and a power spring. Now when you're mounting it regular arm, the speed valves and the control valves will be to the hinge side. So the closer will go up there just like that. Now I always like to just take one of the self-drilling screws, drop it through there to hold it in place like you want it to, and set it up, and we'll run that first hole in. Now you can see how with that being pre-drilled, that makes it a lot easier to do that. So don't have to be fighting and holding the thing up. Then I'll go ahead and run the rest of the screws in for the closer. I normally go catty-cornered, like to catch this one down on the bottom, because it gives you a little bit of movement. Now you need to step back and look at it, make sure it's pretty straight across the top. The height's a problem on this one, because if you get it too low, the arm will want to drag, or if you get it at a little bit of an angle, the arm will drag the top of the door as the door swings open. All right. Now we've got the closer body mounted. Take the closer arm. On the center knuckle, just going to take that screw out of there. You'll have a screw and a washer. You want to make sure you keep that washer because you'll need it when you put it back together. Just pull the arm apart. Now I like to take the arm, put it on top of the closer. You'll see there's indicator marks on the arm, and there is a flat spot on the top of the pinion on the closer. That arm needs to drop on that flat and stick off of that door at 90 degrees. That arm will drop on there in some other applications, but it's not right. So you want to be, say it will drop in different spots. You want to find the flat spot on there, find the mark on your arm, and drop it on, and it should be 90 degrees off of the door. And you want to take your other half of your arm, which is adjustable by a threaded rod. It's got a foot on the end. You want to hold the foot up on the door. You want to get roughly within an inch of the same length, an inch shorter than the arm. Then you're ready to mount this. I always like to just swing the door out of my way. Take the foot. When you go to mount the foot on there, we're going to take this, when we mount the foot, I'm going to mount it with the screw down. Because if the screw comes out, the screw will fall loose, but the pinion will stay in place. If you mount it with the screw up, the screw can come out and the whole mechanism will drop out and the arm will fall off. So you want to mount it on there with the screw down. And I always mount the hole closest to the hinge first, just to make it easy. All right, and hold the arm up out of the way, swing the door closed. There you go. Now take the other half of the arm, drop it back on the pinion. Now you want to adjust this, like I said, in length. Now that you've got it screwed on there, you want this part of the knuckle and the shaft, you want this about an inch shorter. Set it up, and then you simply pull this over, drop it in place. Now, this is right. The arm on the door, the forearm of the closer, should be sticking out at about 90 degrees straight from the door frame. Pull it open. Take the top screw. We want to set it in there. Now you don't need a washer or anything with it. And it's ready to go. It's set with a number 3 Phillips screwdriver. You don't need to set it with a wrench. Just tighten it down snug. Now you want to go back to the screw in the washer that you took out earlier. And you want to put it in here in the knuckle. Like I said, you want to make sure you put the washer back on there, because the bushing will slip out over the screw head. So if you've got it all set, it all looks good, put that on there, tighten that screw down, and there you go. Now we're ready to adjust the speeds on the closer. The closer has basically 3 adjustments on it. It has the sweep speed, which is the first 90 degrees of the sweep. and it has the latch speed, which is the last 10 degrees. Try to get it to slam a little closed. And then it has also a back check on it, which when the door comes open, it will stop it out here. That's if you're in a hallway or something, or you've got some obstacle you don't want it to hit, you can use the back check to slow it down. Or if it's on an exterior door and the wind is bad, you can catch it with that. But we're going to start with demonstrating how to adjust the latch speed. It's the one that's marked with the L for latch on the side. We want to back it out. We want to make sure that that door closes in that last 10 degrees and closes hard enough to latch. That's it, that'll latch. Now we want to take the sweep speed, which is the one with the S. We want to back it out. We want to get it to sweep a little faster than it latches. Now, a little fast all the way around, but it works. When you're doing a door in a building, it generally has to be ADA requirements, which means from the time you let go of it right here to the time it closes, you should be able to count to 15. So as you see, we're a little fast. We're going to start by slowing down the latch speed. Go about a quarter of a turn at a time. Each time you turn it, and just pull the door open to about 90 degrees. Hold it, let it go. When you get it where you think it's close, then you can take it and you maybe do the count on it. Count from 1 to 15. We're still a little fast. I was counting, we're close. And it latches. Now we want to do the back check. The back check is this valve right here, which is again marked with a BC. What it'll do, it'll stop the door. If you're going to walk out it and the wind catches it and it swings it open, or you've got a hallway wall here or something, you don't want it to slam against the wall, you can take that back check and it'll make the hydraulic closer basically work in reverse. We can crank it up and get that door to stop. So you can't push it against the wall or the wind won't catch it. So as it swings open, then it'll start to stop itself right there. And it doesn't affect the other speeds. 15, there we go. Now, once you got it all set, if it latches, it works for you. Lots of times in a stairway or something, if you've got a little bit of an air pressure problem, you may need to adjust the power spring on this particular closer. That is this adjustment here, and it's the valve that's not marked. What you need to do, you tighten it up to put more tension on it. And if you're going to adjust the power spring, you want the door to be closed because it takes most of the tension off the spring. And generally adjust it one full turn at a time. But with this wrench, you need to do it in 2 moves. 2 half turns, puts more tension on it, and it makes the door a little bit harder to open. But what it really does is it makes the hydraulics work stiffer in it. So the wind won't catch it, and it makes it give it that last little bit of pull. It'll pull quite a bit harder in that last 10%. And once you got it to where you're set with your speeds and everything's good, simply take this cap, goes on the bottom to kind of dress it up, and it just snaps on. And once you're all done and you think you're finished, I like to take it one last time, hold the door at 90 degrees, count 1 to 15, let it come close, and if your door has a panic bar or a latch or something on it, you want to make sure when it hits the latch speed, it's fully latched, grab the doorknob and pull to make sure it all clicked and it's all fine. And then we're done.